Hello. Today we're going to get into part 2 of Twitter facts you need to care about. I'm just having some fun with this because I thought Twitter is an excellent topic to end 2012, to enter into 2013, because to me it represents cybernetics, which is the fusion of human beings, the lowest common denominator of human beings on the web, the very short single line which can fit a headline or a sentiment or an idea, kind of a shout or a concept or a meme, more importantly. It's this lowest common denominator of culture in many ways, and I think that's important. So in the last video I called it part 1, Twitter facts you need to care about, and I shared some interesting Twitter statistics, so do feel free to go back to that. Now we're going to move on to part 2, Twitter facts you need to care about, so you'll see a little bit where I'm going with this. And the part 2 is really Twitter facts you need to care about, the problem. Then I'll move on to do another video called Twitter facts you need to care about, the solution. Some of this is related to the software that we're working on, the various softwares. Also, I'm going to explain why in 2012 I created with my team the Google++ RSS feed, and why I felt it was so important, and why I haven't been able to communicate very well with people about why it's so important that they consider RSS and automating their social empires. What's so strange to me is that I'm a very human person, meaning I prefer dealing with human beings and not machines, and I've actually flipped completely around and am 100% moving more into automation based on the research on curation that I found out this year. The only thing that's changed is my understanding of what I call downstream thinking. You're going to see me writing and talking a lot more about downstream thinking and how it relates to feeds, social media, and content, because it makes your world a lot easier when you begin to understand downstream thinking. So that will be my word for 2013. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Twitter. And I do need to say that you can see that in the rare event that a profile of somebody who's prolific and very social, like Sugar Ray, and Hoffman, famous SEO gal, you can see she has a page rank of 5. The main thing that I'd like to discuss is to debunk and clarify a lot of the questions out there about Twitter and what it is that I mean when I'm talking about a Twitter army, and how that all works, and how does it pass PageRank, does it pass PageRank, and so on and so forth. And the reality is, by default, for most people, that is your average human being on Earth, your individual Twitter pages, and Twitter pages actually, every tweet, every common denominator, every meme has got its own page. Okay? They do not pass PageRank, really. They are no follow. You can see that Sugar Ray, who is a profile of 6, dropped to a PageRank 0 for this individual tweet. There's a lot of discussions about this, and when things get tweeted and retweeted, the main thing that I would like to debunk is that there's not magic in retweeting. There's a lot of hubbub around things like retweet it, Twitter backlinks and these types of things. And I'd just like to demystify why and how and if these things are working, because a lot of the times the gurus out there are right for the wrong reasons, and I feel like it's very important for you to understand the real reasons why something works. And if I'm wrong about something, then I also want to be corrected and look at this. But I'm going directly with Matt Cutts, okay, who talks about what's happening on Twitter. Okay, Sugar Ray, the reason I had her profile up is that they were talking about how profiles are no follow, and how Google and Twitter have been dealing with this no follow issue on profiles. They're not getting rewarded for the inbound links and so on and so forth. So my main discussion here is that I'm trying to make your life easier in 2013 so that you don't overthink things. Twitter can be automated in some amazing ways, and I made a mistake and automated a secondary network blog, a blog that should not have been connected to my main profit account. But in the process of doing that, I discovered, and fixing the errors, I found some really interesting and cool things. And in light of other discussions from students from our curationprofits.com course and our one feed to rule them all.com course, I would like to go deeper into this Twitter concept. Okay. The key here is that when you have real followers, your tweets get clicked. And when you continually tweet throughout the day on a regular schedule, various people on at various times will click through to your website. This in turn gives you a traffic signal in your Google Analytics files, which then helps your site, and sometimes even gives you real sales and conversion. I hope that's obvious to you. But I also want you to know, even in the Twitter Army setup, that I get real followers, and even the Fiverr gigs and the other various automated services that I use, which both Twitter and Google would frown upon, are all real human beings that are surgically targeted, at least most of them, surgically targeted to the niche or the topic that I'm in whenever I can possibly help it. Just having a lot of followers is not enough. You got to have some traffic and some targeted followers as well. You'll hear other people like the gentleman who wrote Twitter Tweenius and Don Crothers and many others say that automation doesn't make sense on Twitter. I have proved without a shadow of doubt in 2012 that that's nonsense. It's the right things that need to be automated, and when you start doing things on a large scale, it really starts to have a huge impact on your site as long as you have downstream thinking. Downstream from where? Don't start with Twitter, you end with Twitter. And you want to come from your site into Twitter, and it's just another traffic signal that helps boost your site. Main thing I want to talk about here is if you look at a Twitter page, these pages are no follow and they don't really get indexed, and Matt Cutts speaks really clearly about it here, and I will put this in the blog post. He talks about link shorteners and URLs, 301s and 302s, and he makes a claim at the end of it that Google does not follow Twitter pages. Okay, so that's not what's going to get indexed, and that's part of the problem when you're actually trying to build your long tail snowball effect. Okay, the long tail snowball effect means that you need to have a regular publishing schedule. And with so many people focused way too much on backlinks, they lose sight of the new changes, which are really frequency of publish and what I call the long tail snowball effect, which is also the hit tail folks talk about the long tail snowball effect. People are spending so much time gaming the system that they're not updating content enough. I can see doing backlinking for your landing pages, but I can't see spending thousands of hours that a lot of people are teaching to write and spin articles and all these things. It just really doesn't make the same sense that it used to. So Twitter doesn't get spidered by Google. He did mention that there might be a possibility of using a data feed if you want to get your Twitter things, your Twitter items indexed. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about in part 3. And there's a very instant plug-and-play solution. You don't have to be generating feeds and all these things to your Twitter account, your Twitter output, but you need to be thinking downstream. Your Twitter should be downstream from your blog, meaning all the energy flowing into Twitter should be flowing from your blog or from the publishing platform. Or as Sue Bell says, only tweet thyself, and that is true. But most people use Twitter as a medium in and of itself. Okay, and this doesn't make sense to me personally. It just depends on how you use it. You know, Sugar Ray uses it for her. She gets a lot of traffic. She's got a lot of things, but you know, she'll talk about football games and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so she's a very social user. Twitter is in and of itself a medium of communication for her. But that's not how we're teaching you to use it as a medium in itself. We're teaching you how to think in terms of generating a passive income and automating. Now, what's interesting, we're going to talk about when we come back, is the solution to the fact that Twitter should be used as a downstream medium to give you further reach and to give you physical traffic signal from real followers who are going to click through to your website. I know that it seems so obvious, but people that use Twitter just as a social medium in and of itself, where there's nothing downstream, or they're using Twitter as an upstream medium, meaning they tweet something and they want it to go to their blogs, and that's what I call upstream tweeting. That's the most unprofitable thing imaginable. And I got to tell you, if you can begin to understand this downstream thinking, you're going to make money in ways that you never thought possible. Well, let me just not hype it. you're going to make money a lot more easily in 2013, I believe, than when you're trying to keep up with everybody's complexity. Now, the old Twitter RSS was discontinued in 2012, early 2012, but there is still an API from Twitter that can be turned into a Twitter feed. And when you know how to use it, if you wanted to, you could still use Twitter as a data feed, and you could get these indexed individually. This is one of the reasons why we created the Google Plus feed. I have done a lot of different things. Google Plus is Google's own platform, and everything is indexed more or less from a Google Plus user. This is why I'm so adamant about it. It's a supplementary indexable addendum to your blog when you use Google Plus as a downstream medium. This is part of downstream thinking from your blog, from your sales, from your energy, from your videos on your blog down, not from Google Plus and Twitter up to your blogs. Okay, this is downstream thinking. So when I come back, we'll talk about this interesting fact about, since Twitter is not indexable and it's seldom it's seldom very helpful for SEO, then what is the nonsense out there about retweets and so on and so forth having an effect on press releases and SEO and all these different things? And I'm not saying that a great bunch of retweets aren't helpful. I'm just saying that if those retweets are from eggs, it's new Twitter accounts, or from accounts that don't have any real followers, or from accounts that don't have any clout, then it's useless. And there are people paying right now a lot of money for Twitter retweets and this and that, and they think it's successful, but they're probably a little bit misguided in why they're successful. It's not the raw retweet end of itself that's helpful for your SEO. It's the traffic signal that you're getting to the blog platform, hopefully, from that occasional rare anomalous event where somebody clicks through. Okay, and there is some evidence, and more will be coming up with this, both for Google Plus and Twitter, that all Twitter accounts are not created equal. Some of them have more clout. Okay, and this is definitely true on Google Plus, or at least we think they're heading in that direction. It's very likely. So these downstream thinking processes require that rather than just merely setting and forgetting and automating a Twitter account, you also need to grab followers and have the best possible way to automate those followers while you thread the eye of the needle with your downstream feed from useful content that you have upstream on your blog. Okay, if you wanted to, you could take this into a feed and thread this feed into other places where it's going to get spidered. You could put it into a backlink page indexing service, and then your Twitter pages would probably get indexed, or at least they would get pinged, but there's no real need to go to that, because in the next video I'm going to show you the solution of a single application that should be tied to every one of your single one of your Twitter accounts, so that the hype behind the retweet and all the huge amounts of money you're spending on retweetings and all these different things can at least be marginalized so that you don't have to spend so much. And this one single application that I use guarantees that everything that you tweet downstream will get indexed. I'll see you on part 3. Twitter facts you need to care about, the solutions.